What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Adex providing you with the trade recap video for Monday, May 23rd, 2022. In this video, we'll be going over the Pfizer trade that we took this week. This play ran for over 90% from Monday to Thursday, and specifically in this video, I'll be going over the importance of holding through TTOs and why the strat told you to not get out until Thursday. Remember, if you do enjoy these trade recap videos, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate the support I've been receiving so far, so thank you all. All right, now on to the video. All right, so entering this week, I was bullish on XLV. I mentioned to the group that due to the increase in monkeypox infections, we could see institutional buying within the healthcare sector. We know that institutions are in before retail, and what validated this statement was the setup for XLV itself. Last week, XLV had just triggered 2-2 rev on the week, but it hadn't reached its target yet of 133.25. All right. XLV had just seen 4 consecutive weeks to the downside. We had this inside bar on the weekly, then we went 2 down, 2 down, 2 down, 2 down, right? And then all of a sudden now, last week we had a 2-2 rev to the upside. So 4 consecutive down weeks, and then you get your 2 up week. We know that this can signify, and possibly this could signify a reversal, right? We were also breaking out of this downtrend line, okay? This was all you needed to know for Pfizer. If XLV actually triggered 2 up on the week for the current week that just passed, Pfizer was going to run with it, all right? So now let's look at Pfizer's setup and see how that was actually presenting itself before we took the play. So if you look at Pfizer's setup going into this week, PFE actually did not have an actionable signal on the daily or the weekly time frame. But you should understand that you don't necessarily need an actionable signal to know that institutions are buying at this level. We also had a gap fill above $53.11 that was going to get filled at $53.14, right? But it's only a 3-cent gap. It doesn't matter. The gap adds to magnitude. If XLV is going to trigger 2 up on the week and Pfizer was also going to trigger 2 up on the week, one of my targets is going to be the completion of the gap fill at $53.14. But wait, I don't see the gap. What are you referring to? Well, if you actually look at the smaller time frames and look what Pfizer did on April 14th, you can see that we actually gapped down, right? This was the close, and then all of a sudden we gapped down. Pfizer came back up a little bit, tried to test that close, but then it came right back down. If you drill down and you look at those shorter time frames, and I'm going to go into the shorter time frame for you, like for example, the 5-minute. You can see on the 5 how this is the close, and then we have our gap down, and then they try to take it back up. However, you can clearly see that the close is at $53.14, and this wick is at $53.11. Did this gap get filled? No, it did not. Therefore, that is one of our targets for the gap fill, okay? So let me go back on this for you. So Pfizer, ability to trigger 2-2 up on the day, ability to trigger 2-2 up on the week. We have targets at $53.14. We also have weekly pivots, $53.58, $54.08, $54.67, and ultimately $55. If XLV wanted to go crazy this week, these were going to be my price targets to get out of Pfizer. All right. Now let's actually see how the trade played out. All right. Okay. So now I have Pfizer here on the 15-minute time frame, and I'm usually, while I'm trading intraday, I like looking at the 15-minute time frame just to see how the trade is going and things like that. So I'm going to be using the replay tool right here, and we're going to see how the trade actually played out. Okay, you can see in the first 15 minutes of the day, Pfizer already gave us our gap fill target. Okay. So it already went 2 up on the week. The first candle, the high was at $53.34. So it already gave us our gap fill target. However, because of the fact that we went 2 up on the week, XLV also went 2 up on the week, and it's a Monday. Let's see how long this play can run for. All right. So Pfizer inside 15, trend still up. Also notice how Pfizer comes down towards that weekly pivot, but it doesn't break it. And it says, oh, we're gonna keep going up. I want you guys to remember that. Remember this weekly pivot at $52.70 because we're gonna come back to it, okay? All right, we're gonna play. Okay, first, all right, we got our weekly pivot hit. TTO right here, possibly. Remember the $52.70 level. Because now at this point intraday, we have taken some profits here at the weekly pivot, but we're still holding some runners. Okay, 12:45 p.m. I'm in the West Coast, so this is 15 minutes before market close. And look what Pfizer does right here on the 15th. You see that we have a 3 down, and then all of a sudden we hammer off the weekly call trigger. This is very important, and the reason why is because I even mentioned it to the group. I say, you see why Strat tells you to still hold? Because look where we TTO. We TTO exactly off the weekly put trigger right here in this image. And so I mentioned this to the group saying this is why we hold, because we are still above our entry. What I like to tell my members and what I like to reiterate to traders is that, and especially if you trade strat, is that your entry is your exit, right? Your entry should be the reason why you exit the play. So if that play goes back below your entry, that can now give you a reason to possibly want to cut or leave the play, right? Not necessarily that you will, but it would just give you a reason to think about it. We ultimately know that if we hold our trigger, or we know the entry, or we hold the entry that we took to go long or short, right? And we stay above that entry, the play is still intact. The strat is telling you to stay in the play. Actually, as a matter of fact, the strat is telling you to buy more. Now look what happens the next day. And this is why the importance of a TTO and the importance of these weekly pivots and the importance of the $52.70 level. All right, so I'm gonna continue playing. Look what happens, boom. There's your TTO. 6:30 in the morning, right at the bell opening, right off the weekly call trigger. So this was Monday. You took profits at this weekly pivot, and then notice how at the end of the day, it just goes back to retest your weekly call trigger and boom, come right back up. What is that, you guys? That all that is a TTO, right off the weekly call trigger. Textbook. Now watch, remember, now watch how this play continues to go. And this is why we say, hold on. Don't, just because it's a Monday, if the setup went 2 up on the week and it's not giving you a reason to exit because it hasn't gotten below that trigger, that daily call trigger, that weekly call trigger, you don't necessarily need to get out of the play. All right, I'm gonna continue playing. Look at that. Pfizer gave you 2 opportunities to buy more. It gave you 2 retests of the weekly call trigger, and you also had a 3-1-2 to the upside. All right, so this is another TTO. And as long as you know that this weekly call trigger is the reason why you entered the play, you don't need to exit because we are still above our entry. So remember, this is Tuesday now. All right, now this candle happens on 6:30 Wednesday. Look what happens at the first opening candle. We make a higher high compared to the higher high we made on Monday. Therefore, if you are still in the $53 calls for Pfizer, you are up in profits. And actually, let me go back to it because we got in the Pfizer $53 calls for this week at 77 cents. And I reminded the group that, hey, you can take some off, but remember, XLV XLV in the gap to the downside as of right now, okay? Make sure to take some off. This can just be a TTO right back to the upside. I still have runners for the remainder of the week. This is why you keep runners for the remainder of the week, because if you know which sectors is gonna go off that week and you're confident in the play and you have that confirmation with that 2-2 rev on the week for XLV, and actually, let me go back to XLV so I can show you. I'll play it, because this is how XLV ended up. Triggered Tuesday. Look at that. XLV to end the week. 2-2 continuation. Remember, we started the week saying that XLV had just came off a reversal off of 1, 2, 3, 4 2 downs, and now we had a 2 up. And we were breaking from this downtrend line. Now, this was our opportunity to take that reversal for XLV. Okay, I'll continue with the play for Pfizer. Remember, Pfizer still hasn't gotten below our weekly call trigger. Right, now we're about to approach Thursday. Boom, Thursday it is. There you go. And that was the move that we waited for all week. Remember, we entered Pfizer right here. This was our entry for Pfizer. This is our TTO right here. Okay. We have another TTO right here, or TTO, or you could say the weekly tap, right? And opportunities to buy more. And then look where Pfizer just keeps on going, makes higher highs and higher lows. And then we finally on Thursday get the gap up that we wanted to our weekly pivot. Did we get exactly to $55 that we wanted? No, we did not, right? But let's see how it continues to play. On Thursday, we had reached about 3 of our price targets. This weekly pivot, approach this weekly pivot. But now we were starting to create a shooter on the day, okay? We were not only creating the shooter on the day, but Pfizer did have that gap fill that it created that Thursday. And so we were going to had an opportunity to fill it. Because of the fact that Pfizer was now, if you can look at this movement, this is now looking like a shooter on the day. This was setting up for a possible 2-2 rev for Friday, right? So what I had told members is to take some profits here. We had held this play from Monday to Thursday. We were now up about 92%. Yes, because we had weekly contracts, could it go crazy on Friday? Yes, of course it can. But we also know that shooters exist. We also know that reversals exist as well. If Pfizer is going to be presenting us, and let me show you on this chart for you right here. So if Pfizer, and it actually did, let me just go back. Pfizer presented us with a shooter on the day for Thursday after hitting all of our price targets. So you can see why now, especially with this gap fill from this close to the open, you can see why Pfizer was looking like it wanted to fill that gap to the downside and why it could be presenting us with a 2-2 rev on the day. Okay, if I play this over the weekly as well, that was Pfizer's move. And ultimately, the reason why Pfizer only gave us the move till Thursday is because if you draw a trend line here, that was exactly where we expected profit taking to occur, to the T, if you have this trend line right here, Pfizer. Okay. All right, so that was the Pfizer play, and I'll just continue this for you. And that is why the importance of holding and understanding the TTO. When we're looking for plays, the homework is important. What is the sector telling you? What's going on in the world that can give you the fundamental edge? Remembering that like TTOs exist, right? And TTOs will ultimately show you how to stay in the play longer. These right here, your entry right here, TTO off the weekly pivot, another TTO off the weekly pivot. Did it go below your entry? Yeah, you had a little small wick here, but did it close below? No, it did not. So this is why the strat told you to stay in the play. The strat tells you to buy more and that the trend is still up. We went 2 up on the day, we went 2 up on the week. We know we have the fundamental news and we have the fundamental catalyst that can actually help us in our play. So we know, and we also ultimately know that institutions are buying Pfizer as well, okay? So draw your levels. The pivots are very important as they can indicate possible areas of demand, supply, or bounce levels. Market participants are at these levels. And by market participants, we mean institutions, okay? So that was a Pfizer trade. Hopefully I was able to help you guys and you guys were able to get a little bit of understanding of what the TTO is, how we trade the strat, what was my analysis for the play. If you want to get more videos like this, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do want to trade with the team at AdexTrades, make sure to check out the link in the bio. And of course, you all have a great trading week. I will see you all later.